Hamilton's financial plan. What do you know about that?
Oh, it was quite a thing. Hamilton, he decided that he wanted to set up a national bank to assume all of the state's various debts that they had incurred. So he decided to bring it to the Congress floor, and he brought it up with the cabinet first. Brought it up to the cabinet, introduced it to Congress. At first, he didn't have all the votes that he needed. However, he was able to gain them after encouraging the Congress and explaining why it was needed.
Interesting. And did this have anything to do with the Whiskey Rebellion?
Yes, in fact, the Whiskey Rebellion was brought on by one of the plans that was inside of his financial plan. He had decided to do a smaller tax on things that were whiskey related, and so that spurred a rebellion that caused the tax to be repealed rather than just toned back.
Well, we all know how everybody feels about whiskey.
Oh, everyone loves their whiskey.
Of course they do. They also love this president you know about.
Of course. When he introduced his farewell address, many people were very disappointed. However, as you can probably guess, he seemed to fade from the history books after his presidency. He kept to himself, for the most part, after he had served his term.
So you know all about John Adams, the Atom Man, right?
I guess you could say that, coming out of Harvard, rich, well, he wasn't exactly rich, but he was a really good lawyer.
Lawyers, do they make for good presidents?
They sure do. Quick-witted, outstanding thinkers, outstanding writers. What could be better?
Interesting. So he managed to beat Jefferson in the election of
1776.
And that was historic, I believe, of historical importance.
Very much of historical importance, of course. When he was elected president, the Alien and Sedition Acts came into play. And this made it harder for immigrants to, it gave new powers to deport immigrants, which was very bad, very, very bad, of course. And it made it harder for them to vote.
We all know how important it is for every single person to vote who can vote.
Correct.
Every single person in these years where white men who own land can vote, and they're the only ones who can vote. It's very important that everyone votes.
Yes, sir. But the good news is, during the, later on in the years, the Kentucky and Virginia legislation, the legislatures, of course, they didn't suppose, actually. They stated that the Alien Sedition Acts were unconstitutional, which is very good for the time. It's great.
That's very good, yes. John Adams is quite good.
Indeed.
So you know all about James Madison. Now he's quite a controversial figure because of the War of 1812.
Yeah. You see, the War of 1812, a very controversial time in American history. But I will say that it was not our fault. It was completely 100% British aggression, British embargoes, British sanctions, and impressment. I don't like that.
Now, you say it's not our fault, but is there any evidence to potentially suggest that? Now, I'm not saying this because I'm un-American or anything, but, just for equal coverage, but is there any way you could potentially think that we caused the War of 1812?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
None. It was completely unprovoked. The British were just slapping sanctions on us left and right. They came over, they wanted to be aggressive.
I see. And were there any major allies with the British?
Some people speculate the French might have had something to do with it, putting sanctions on us, but I don't know.
What about those Canadians up north? Did they have anything to do with this?
They had absolutely nothing to do with this. Canada would never do that.
So, about the practices of British impressment, right?
Absolutely abhorrent.
What exactly is that?
They're taking... So, the British Act of Impressment, they're just taking people left and right. The qualifications are if you're between the ages of 18 and 55 and have any kind of sailing experience, the British Navy can just take you out of your daily life, You don't even have to be British. They're taking people off other European ships. Random ships that they find like pirates, they're just taking people off them and scripting them.
So it's seaside kidnapping.
That's basically exactly what it is. Absolutely abhorrent.
Oh my. has anything been done to stop this that wasn't an act of aggression or a war, per se?
There's really not a whole lot you can do to stop it. They have the most powerful navy in the world, and as of yet, we can't counter that.
James Madison. He's a guy.
That's lad.
Mad lad. Now, so you know all about James Monroe.
Yes, I do.
He's one of our more recent presidents in these years that are unspecified for reasons.
I would assume so.
Yes. Now, what can you tell me about the Monroe Doctrine?
Well, Monroe, he did not want Europe to meddle in America's independence any more than it already had been. After the War of 1812, America wanted to be strictly independent, and that meant that if European powers did anything to any of the part of the Americas, then they were a threat, and they were, potentially inciting war.
Obviously, that just makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Now, Monroe had a thing with this, Henry Clay guy, am I right?
Yeah.
So this Henry Clay fella,
Yeah.
what about him with the whole James guy?
Well, Henry Clay basically, though he didn't speak directly to the Europeans, he was trying to make a system that worked economically for the inside of America. So he would do tariffs. That's the only foreign part. Tariffs to protect American trade. He also wanted money for infrastructure, so to make sure the inside can actually work well, and banks to support the businesses and other parts that needed funding.
This is quite interesting, So the other thing that James Monroe is most known for is the whole Missouri, what is it?
Compromise. Yeah. So that's basically, everybody, the North doesn't really like the whole slavery thing already, and the South's like, nah, we kind of need that. So the new state, Missouri, was like, what are we going to do about this? We're going to make it free or not so free. So basically the compromise was we're going to make Missouri not so free, but we're going to make Maine free. So Missouri had slavery and Maine did not.
Well, good thing nobody ever wants to go to Missouri.
Exactly.
Now, lovely viewers at home, we all know that Thomas Jefferson is obviously the best president and the most important, even more important than John Adams. I know this might upset some people a little bit, but unfortunately, that's just the facts. Thomas Jefferson was the first president from the Democratic Republican Party, inciting a major change in political parties over the Americas. This is the political revolution of 1800. Thomas Jefferson, what else did he do? He purchased Louisiana. Nobody could just do that before he did. And then he did. Crazy, right? He also is the reason we explored Louisiana. Lewis and Clark, those guys, they got together and did stuff because of Thomas Jefferson. How whack is that? Pretty whack. Thomas Jefferson also attempted to end the British practice of impressment with the Embargo Act, which definitely helped us in every way and did not hurt us at all when it came to trade. Thomas Jefferson helped this country in many ways, and that's why he's obviously the best president. Also because he was totally cheating on his wife with a bunch of people